Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Scoped In with myself, William Cho. I was one of the casters and analysts here at VCT Pacific, and while we used to look at some plays and teams from VCT Pacific, now that Masters Tokyo is going on over in Japan, we are going to start taking a look at some plays coming out from VCT Masters. Playoffs has already kicked off starting today, the day of this recording. Not sure if I'll be able to upload this video right away, but we are going to take a look at just a couple hand-picked plays. We're not going to have as much time to really go through like every team, as teams are going to get knocked out, you know, here and there, left and right, as Masters is really kind of jam-packed into 2 weeks. But to kick things off, we opened the round of 8 in the playoffs, the quarterfinals in the upper bracket, with some great matches. EG versus Loud, while yes, it was a rematch from the Americas region, turned out to be an excellent match and a great showing from EG, quite frankly. And then, of course, we had EDG really pushing the limits of the number 1 seeded team from EMEA, Team Liquid. So we're going to take a look at a couple plays that just signify what I think are some of the strengths that these teams have brought, and maybe in some cases just something that's a little bit unique or something new that these teams are showing. Let's jump right into it. The first clip we're going to look at is round 3 on the very first map between Loud versus EG. Now, of course, Loud was seeded higher, right? They were the number ranked seed from the Americas region. They had already gotten the bye into the playoffs. And Evil Geniuses, they were the number 3 seed from the region, making out of the groups ahead of DRX, in fact. Let's remember that. And they were able to get this rematch here in the very first round of playoffs. Now, if we take a look at how the game has been going so far, EG, they take the pistol and then their next round as well, and now they are setting up for their bonus. So if you look at the mini map, we've got 4 members of EG up top on the north side, and then you have Boostio on the Killjoy, just kind of watching for anything over on the south side. Nothing too crazy. Now, again, we have to remember that this is a bonus, right? So sure, you do what you can to try to, you know, do whatever damage or maybe continue the lead and snowball. But again, a win would be a cherry on top, as we often say. Ideally, you're getting the plant down and taking away a couple weapons here and there. EG, though, it's not like they weren't really planning for this at all, right? They do have a Phantom carried over from the previous round. Of course, still a Guardian and a Bulldog as well. So if we want to count all of them as rifles, which they technically are, you've got 3 different ones, and then you've got 2 weapons. But the most important thing here is going to be this Hunter's Fury. There's only 1 point left on the ultimate from Calm because he's already got 4 kills, and they've been pretty diligent about making sure that they can stack up these orbs. So let's take a look at how the beginning of this round plays out. We do have Aspas, as the casters have mentioned as well, close to his ultimate, but again, it's one of those things where it's like sometimes you see teams who try to dump ultimates really early, like on an eco or something. You're like, well, you were probably not winning that round anyway. Is that really worth it? You know, a lot of times hindsight is 20/20. But look at what's happened so far. Right off the beginning of the round, Boostio was pushed up. He's put down this alarm bot here, and then he just kind of creeps into sewers just a bit, and he's expanded his territory, right? So rather than just being locked in to this area in spawn and then maybe having to take the rope to escape any pressure coming out from A or B main, what he has done is he has now made sure that any entry into B is safe from the other side, right? So his job is to now to try to hold on and pressure this whole area, right? This turret is just to get info if there is a push out from A main. He's not going to escape and have to go in as all 5. He's going to make sure that they're always applying pressure from 2 different areas. But what we do find out if you watch the play is he actually is there for another very specific reason, rather. So Loud, they're playing it safe, obviously. You know, they know that the enemies are on a bonus. They don't want to go out and give away weapons for free. Sadok's just checking. Now Boostio, because the turret hasn't triggered, he's continuing to just wait, try to see if he can, you know, respond to the alarm bot, but he's already got a lineup ready, and that nanoswarm is going to get thrown. Now, let's explain what happens here before it all lands. So the nanoswarm is going to be used to block off tower, right? We've seen this before, right? We've seen these lineups before just to make sure that people can't either funnel into tower or come out of it, things like that. That's all great and dandy. Now, if you look at the composition, you've still got Breach and Raze as well. Of course, technically, you've got Shock Darts still on comm as well. So Something we've seen in the past, for any comp that has a breach and raise, is you're often going to see the fault lines come out through here, and then paint shells as well, maybe an aftershock, or maybe one or the other, just to make sure that whoever's in tower is somewhat trapped one way or the other, or at the very least, they have to back out. Now, with these nano swarms, you would kind of have to just back out of the entire thing, and normally that would be possible. But we have to remember, Calm just intentionally had finished his Hunter's Fury. And now, just to be sure that there's no one trying to hide away or, sit far back here at the very corner of tower, they put in the recon bolts as well. They make sure no one's there. The Aftershock to make sure they continue to buy time for Jogmo to now start to take control of tower. They see that it's clear. They see the fragment has been thrown as well. So they know, okay, KO was here. He's trying to fight to maintain control of tower. And immediately the Hunter's Fury goes out and Sadok dies to the nano swarms. And you're wondering what in the world happened here. Right? Already another person was tagged as well. Jogmo picks up that kill. And then on top of that, Calm, he's used the Hunter's Fury. Bustio realizes that the turret has now gotten contact. The turret has been taken out. And Calm, instead of flooding into the site and just holding, EG is playing for the win. So Bustio's job here, he gets one kill, but you can tell from his movement, he was really just trying to keep them at bay over yonder, because Calm is coming over, no sound starting at the halfway point or about 2/3 of the way through the rope, and he's able to get that kill. Well, the craziest part to me is Calm was the one with the Phantom, right? So they're not sending that into the site, but just in case something does go, awry, that they're not just dumping that weapon that they have that could make a difference. They leave it to Calm, who was always going to be in the back line somewhere, but they make the instant decision to come support this area as well. So even if Bustio did die, right, Calm has cut noise on ropes. It would be so hard for Loud to expect Calm to have already taken ropes and show up right behind them, right? They have to start to position here against the post plan. So just to make that instant call, but then also to have this set play ready with the Hunter's Fury, and to purposely make it happen, right? They get the orb early and they don't waste any more time. They're not trying to fake out Loud. They just say, okay, we know what this set play can do. We know it's going to either get us a kill, most likely, because people aren't just, just because you got fault line, you're not going to be like, okay, peace out and empty the site, especially if you have the better weaponry. And so they just kind of trap them in there. And if not, the Hunter's Fury will at least tag someone for Jogmo to get the kill on. Now let's move on to round 9 of the same map. Now this one, we're going to highlight Loud a bit. And while EG did win quite convincingly in this overall match, 2-0 overall score as well, and, pretty dominant leads in terms of round score, you still have to respect the fact that Loud is still a great team, because here's what happens. We look at the scoreboard. Loud is currently down 2-6, and look at what we have here. Calm's got his Hunter's Fury ready to go. All right? And so, Loud, they're not playing just round by round. They are starting to stack up their experiences of what they've learned so far from the enemies. On top of that, they do have, they have their Viper's Pit as well, but they have their own Rolling Thunder. So they have something to really help out, right, and be this catalyst during any retakes. Or worst case, you could try to use it to push them back as well if time's kind of starting to run out and time's on your side. So what we're going to see happen is Loud does not position in a way where they could potentially get trapped. They even put up the 0 point and the smoke over on Arcade as well to just buy time there. Now the recon bolt does get taken out instantly in case you miss it. It lands and then Sadok's just going to take it out immediately. So with that, they are now even more aware of the potential of a set play coming out from EG. Bustio has the same turret ready as well. Of course, this time Calm sent his dart over from here just to seed in his teammates coming in from Arcade. But if we let it play out, as soon as that recon bolt lands, everyone just empties. Loud just says, okay, we're not dealing with this, okay? We can have less just try to see if someone, peek out, see if anyone does come in through Arcade or anything like that. But just give up tower, right? Let them have it. Let them use their utility. Let them dump everything to get in. We're not taking the risk of a potential same play, because that kind of play is you could know what's coming, but based on your positioning, you could just be out of luck, right? So you don't want to risk that. They've emptied it way fast enough. Meanwhile, because they've emptied this entire site, right? Look at the line that they're keeping. We're looking at Com being underground near sewers. We have Kawanzin has already gone over to support A. And part of this reasoning being B's going to be a retake, right? Just don't die. Just scout for information, maybe buy some time, but that's it. Don't die. But in case, because we don't have strong information coming out on A, I am going to go support over on this side of the map. And worst case, if B does get taken over, as long as we keep this line right here, we can creep up and use our Rolling Thunder to go for the retake. So meanwhile, EG, they realize, okay, well, they broke the recon. Like, is someone here? What's going on? Fault line at the ready. Now, this is fairly stock standard here for Fracture. And immediately Paint Shells goes up. They use their smokes just to be safe. But now, one other credit that we should give over to EG, as we see the fragment just trying to make sure that no one's coming in through the smoke. So, again, Sadak just says, listen, our goal is to keep this line safe, right? No one gets past their own smokes, right? They're not going to be able to push through. We just want to keep it alive. What I want to give credit to is EG doesn't dump everything. So they're also aware of the fact that Loud could just be emptying to go for this retake. They don't dump everything they have just to get into sight. And so a lot of respect being given over from each other to their respective opponents. Now, meanwhile, the smokes are going to come out early, flashbang right away, or flash drive right away. And Loud spends no time. They immediately get the kill onto the spike. And you can just see everything being thrown out. You've got the fast lane coming out for Aspas. You've got, of course, the Rolling Thunder right away. And meanwhile, we're going to see Com trying to hold them off, right? So as soon as all this commotion happens and the Rolling Thunder happens, Com says, okay, I'll just keep them at bay. I will keep them behind this line entirely. What he doesn't know is that 2 people already have gone through. I mean, sure, maybe the Neon you expect, but 2 people already through. He already gets tags on 2 others, but Loud already has members in the site. And, Jogma will do his best, but the spike still hasn't been planted, and Loud already has position all around the site. Now, Jogma does get some incredible kills here, but at the end of the day, it's going to be Loud with some really good just recollection of what's happened so far, understanding what EG is capable of, keeping that in the back of their mind, and then saying, okay, well, now this time we are better prepped. We're not going to get caught off guard by the same thing. They even kind of have the advantage thanks to Neon Speed and the Rolling Thunder coming out before the spike is able to be planted. Next, let's take a look at the second match of the playoffs. This Team Liquid versus EDG. The very first map was Haven. That's what we're going to take a look at. And one thing I want to look at is just EDG and a part that maybe gets, hidden in the shadows just a little bit because Kong Kong is taking the spotlight by the storm here at Masters Tokyo. But to me, what always seemed to be so impressive about EDG's play on Haven was going to be Chichu, right? And his performance on that cipher. And the way that he is able to just really create a lot of these lurks, right, that are always causing these problems. So, let's take a look at how this plays out. Now, Chichu, we already see, even on attack, he's trying to get these aggressive cameras. A lot of times he'll actually put it up here just to make sure that they, he knows what's going on in mid and the opponents can't take it for free. But this time he's going to try to get some free information over on C. Now, Team Liquid, they seem to be fairly aware of this. The op is waiting to see if there's any peak. And eventually what we're going to see on the minimap is that, or we're actually going to see it, is going to be Redgar just peeks out, sees the camera, and takes it out. So now this forces Chichu to back off. And Team Liquid, oh, hold on. Do I have this on 1.5 speed? No, I don't. It just sounded like Sideshow was talking at 1.5 speed. And this is going to allow Safe to start to push up. Now, Chichu, again, correctly is going to back off. So he's given up a little bit of space already. Meanwhile, we should note that this is an eco round from EDG, except it's an eco with an operator, right? So Kong Kong, they did just have to let it be known that they have this operator. So, information they wouldn't have wanted to give over, but they'll have to give up anyway. So EDG, they're trying to fish for, okay, where else can we go? We have pushed them back from A main. They just get spotted by the guiding light. But is this where we want to go? What else can we do? What are our options? So Chichu says, all right, I'm starting off on my own adventure. So he's completely ditched C in perfect timing, mind you, because Safe has been pushing out. And Chichu's mission is now to start to disrupt the rest of the map. He just wants to create some other pressure. During this, there is a bit of a mishap here on the side of Team Liquid where they weren't able to instantly get the kills off of this guiding light. And just a quick swing. I mean, what a good play from EDG. What happens here is nobody wide swings this way. And then as he draws the crosshair, Kong peeks out, shoots, and then dashes back out. And then nobody would peek right back from the right side. I mean, just really good 1-2 punches here from nobody where he's able to get that one kill. But the alarm bot now on Garage gets taken out. So Nats, right, you know, kind of the origins of lurking, I guess, in the pro Valorant scene internationally speaking. He now has to deal with, okay, Chichu's out here somewhere. So Safe says, all right, well, I'm on my way. I'm going to try to start pressuring wherever we can. He's trying to look for where Chichu might be. Meanwhile, EDG says, we got to kill. Let's use the Rolling Thunder and jump in. And they will just power through. And because of the weapon difference, sure, you know, they drop a couple people, but they still come out on top. They still have 2 people left alive. And now because of that speed that they've entered, Safe kind of just has to pick and choose, and he decides to just keep moving forward, right? So he's going to have to keep going forward. But the problem is that Chichu has created enough pressure that Team Liquid has to kind of keep that in the back of their mind the entire time. So they want to try to thin out these numbers, right? But Nats has to keep looking back. Okay, is Chichu coming or not? What's the call here? Safe says, I'm going to start erasing angles one by one, but there's too much that he has to cover. And in any case, while Safe is going to be able to get this one kill, Nats is still concerned about his back. Like, they just have no idea where at this point in time Chichu might be. And this is so much they have to worry about. Now, because of that, what we see from Hao Dong is actually, now that Chichu is here, he's going to shift positions to hell. And so right as the defuse begins, Nats is going to come. He's just going to say, okay, I can cover. And he says, where'd they go? He just checked here. No one was there. He checked short. No one's there. And then he's like, did they back out to long? Did you somehow, you know, pass them? Or is Chichu maybe coming in from behind you on long? Like, we have no idea where they are. Immediately, Hao Dong will be able to swing out, get the kill, and then even to the very end, Chichu, I mean, sure, Safe doesn't get the kill immediately on Hao Dong anyway, but Chichu is able to create this crossfire and absolutely secure the round win from EDG. But Chichu's lurks, and not always just Chichu, but EDG, their lurking has gotten very good, and because of that, they're able to constantly gain a lot more information than they used to in the past year, so that now they can adjust round to round. They can really start to learn from their opponents and adapt. Now let's jump all the way forward to map 3 between Team Liquid and EDG, and we're going to see a little bit of I guess adjustments, good adjustments from both sides. So one thing we should note, this is towards the very end of the map. You know, it is already match point for Team Liquid. EDG trying to catch up to push to overtime. Spoiler alert, they don't. So Team Liquid, they're trying to finish off this game. Now, Team Liquid, especially with this composition, if you'll note, right, and you know, we see more and more teams trying either the same or similar compositions out on Lotus as we go, but it's got no full flashes, right? You have the paranoia, but that's it. It also doesn't have any stuns. It doesn't have like the neon or the breach. So while, yes, you do have things like the C's, of course, you've got paint shells. I mean, you have ways to gain control. What this composition allows you to do is really kind of push and pull and really create some chaos and confusion throughout the map. It lets you really play a macro style. A lot of teams on Lotus will try to favor, okay, let's pick a composition that can really just force the fight on A or force the fight on C, erase that side of the map and move on. But Team Liquid is playing a very macro style of Lotus. And this has been going on, as you can see, for quite some time. EDG, they finally put a stop to it, and they got 3 rounds in a row. But, I mean, Team Liquid has just been able to keep the lead for the longest time here on Lotus. So right off the bat, EDG, because they went for this double duelist composition, they don't have, you know, a lot of other utility to kind of force a lot of these fights happen. Sometimes we saw them committing the paranoia early just to get control of A main as well, but they'll just throw the paint shells. And then they'll back off. But they have no way of checking, right? Okay, so with this toxic screen here, like what's really going on the side of A? And there's been a lot of rounds throughout the second half where EDG, they'll kind of catch sight of utility or contact with another member on Team Liquid, and they'll all rotate to try to go for the fight because that's what their composition can do. And so what we're going to continue to see is, okay, well, the screen's up, the smoke's up, we don't have much else we can work with. Send the trailblazers to try to get some information. Okay, they're not too far in yet. It gets taken out, and it's not able to go all the way through the poison cloud. But they say, okay, all right, okay, well, Omen smoke just came out as well. Let's assume we've given up rubble, right? And we're giving up this entire space, but no need to panic too much yet. That's the idea here from EDG, right? Kong, he's just going to hide out there. And now the Seekers come out in a minute. So EDG's doing everything they can to really go through this process of elimination. Okay, well, are you still on A? Like, how many people are there? Should we rotate? Should we not? I mean, sure, we have this camera and we've got tripwires, right, both on C and B, but we want to be prepared for these fights wherever it may be. And so nobody, as he uses the Seekers, he's coming through this side as well. And he's going to realize, okay, well, one of the Seekers went through B main. So they haven't really all entered A quite just yet. There's still someone on the LURK as well. And now suddenly a Omen smoke comes out over by C site entrance. And the timing, just so works out that Chichu is now waiting with his own spy cam. Meanwhile, guiding light was just used. Okay, nobody in B main. We can start to slowly eliminate B from our choices, says EDG. Meanwhile, because they've kind of given up that entire space, rather than sticking out, by stairs and then potentially getting taken out or having to rotate all the way around and spending more time, Smoggy is just prepared either to hold this line or immediately come and support over on A, right? Kong's kind of on an island, but he is Jet. And because of the Omen smoke coming out, and we see the spy cam getting taken out, we see a little bit of movement from EDG. They say, okay, listen, we saw someone, they actually saw that it was going to be Sokos on the fade, trying to push C. The Omen smokes here too. They might be prepping for something. We might want to be ready for this. Cypher wasn't in sight, so they're going to go ahead and send Hao Dong to try to cover C. But instead of going into the site, because again, you're playing very far back, right? Other than Kong, you're all pretty much playing outside of the site, behind each site. So instead of going in and potentially getting marooned here alone on the site, even Hao Dong is going to just keep this line right outside, just try to buy some time, whatnot, get some extra info. Same thing for Cypher, same thing for Sky, obviously here for Smoggy on the Rays, and Kong's the only one who's trying to just kind of play close. And he hears the ore point get taken as well. So Smoggy says, okay, well, there's definitely some people on A. I'm gonna start to come over here. I don't think they're gonna come all the way through stairs. But meanwhile, we see, of course, the Prowler being used as well. So Hao Dong says, well, okay, we still don't know. Okay, just hit the tripwire. I'm not really sure what's going on. Meanwhile, they decide, okay, chances are it's A, right? Because 2 Seekers still went over earlier. We just heard the ore point go out. And so just to allow Chichu to be able to rotate safely and to block any potential B pushes, they put up this smoke here, and they're going to use the guiding light to check Baby Door as well. It actually does get the tags right away, and Kong, he's good for one. Smoggy was now finally ready for the crossfire, instantly gets another as well. And this has suddenly dwindled down the numbers quite a bit. Now, EDG, they realize, okay, we got to go through right when the pit is most vulnerable. They get the spike planter immediately, and Kong, he's just trying to play for time more than anything. And he's able to buy the time that he so wanted. He actually gets the kill onto Nats as well. And then EDG gets that round. But that's what I mean, is that the fact that they are now starting to learn from round to round, right? And say, okay, no. Team Liquid, they do this a lot, right? They've been pushing and pulling on either side of the map. Let's not over-rotate. Very impressive from them. Meanwhile, I mean, I think it just goes to show it took that long. It took Team Liquid getting to match point for EDG to catch on to that. So Team Liquid, this Lotus, their Lotus in general, I think really shows the style of calling that Redgar is so good at, right? Which is kind of push and pull, draw out utility, cause some confusion, make sure that they're kind of spread out thin, and then hit a site, go in, maybe one person's even on the flank. But EDG, they start to catch on. Now what we're going to see if we continue to play the live broadcast as we skip forward is finally that second timeout from Team Liquid will come out at 12:11. And they're trying to figure out, okay, what could possibly be happening in this last round. I like this timeout. As I was watching this, some people in chat, we don't have the official watch party going on, but we're just watching it. I just have it on the side, and we chat about it during my stream. We were wondering, okay, well, why timeout when it's 12:11, right? Sorry, I just keep drawing circles over 12. Why not use a timeout earlier? But I kind of like this because, first of all, you're already at match point anyway. So give yourself enough time. I mean, first, let the players try to figure out what they can. But now, of course, the coach has had more time to really get a sense of, okay, what is EDG doing? The other thing, though, is that with so much on the line here in the last round, I think this type of timeout now puts a little bit extra pressure on the mind games for the opponents to say, okay, are they going to do something different? They're probably going to do something different, right? They just used the timeout. It's match point. They don't want to go to overtime. We got to do something else as well. And so, Team Liquid, off of their timeout, it looks like they're in a 3-2 split. But really what's going to happen is that this turret is watching for a push out from B. So they're already expecting that. And meanwhile, they've always been putting up the poison cloud here, and then the toxic screens either here or here. Now, this time they put it deeper, right, to make it look like they're really just going to go into A site. But immediately as the round starts, we're going to see the poison cloud being thrown right away. And immediately you see the paranoia and the showstopper being used. And Nats hears this and he says, I do not want anything to do with this. So he just empties it. He's going to pick up the spike on the way so it doesn't get stranded or spotted. And he just hides, right? He doesn't want to keep trying to run in case the showstopper really is able to chase through and, get a shot off on him. Meanwhile, Yampi has pushed up off the trust of his sturdy turret. Yampi's pushed up into pillars. And he's now trying to position to just catch someone off guard on the push out from B. So, showstopper is there. Yampi actually does get spotted, it looks like there. He tries to fire on the guiding light, or off of it, rather. And now Nats and Yampi, they're kind of stranded. Meanwhile, the main force was trying to just cause some chaos over on C. Now, we have to remember, the spike was never even carried by anyone over on the C side. So the intention was never for Team Liquid to go for a rush, but they're really just trying to say, okay, if we pressure C, will they come out from A or B? And guess what? They absolutely do. Now, something that, even if you do calculate for it, you can't really do anything about it is if Kong just shoots brilliantly well on the swing, then, well, Yampi is not going to be able to fight back from that. I mean, as great as he is as well, sometimes the other person just is a second faster. So Nats, now he trades for one, but he is caught off guard, and because of the sound of the pushouts, the guiding lights, the showstopper, and everything, the main force has returned just quick enough. So we're going to see Sokas and Safe immediately trade for more kills over here by attacker spawn. Just another note, though. Redgar still hanging out in C, right? They want to make sure, really get a glimpse of, okay, where is everyone? Where is everything? I mean, I just have to trust, right? This would have been a 4v4 anyway. It has now been dwindled down to a 2v1 in our favor. So Redgar's just trying to do what he can over by C site. And now Kong is the one who's hiding by B. Redgar does get taken out. So now Team Liquid says, okay, well, we not only have to pick up the spike, but we gotta like go. We gotta go. So they're going to try to swing out double together. The C's trying to do what it can. Kong actually gets the kill while C is done to Safe. But Soulcast immediately trades and just says, peace, right? Redgar spotted the Cypher. They know that they were fighting for a bit longer, so he just says, all right, I'm out of here. Now, he does have that trap wire that he has to get through. He wants to double check to see if, of course, Chichu had come all the way through defender spawn. And the ending of this. Now, I mean, this is... So Soulcast, he decides to hide, right? He makes it... We should know, and his plant position makes it look like, I mean, yes, it's possible that he's in drop, but also it's very likely that he could be hiding by rotating door as well. And Chichu has so much that he has to cover, because if he goes in just the regular site, he would have to check both heaven and door at the same time, or the entry in from rotating door at the same time. So he wants to go in where he can really just kind of clear one angle at a time, but he's trying to not make any noise. The spike's been planted for a little bit, and watch what happens here. He's going to creep up. He wants to spot, and he just does not go far enough for him to check drop, and he's not able to get the kill. He has to run in because he's running out of time. So a bit of an unfortunate ending for EDG, but I really like it from Team Liquid. So EDG, they now realize EDG's caught on to how they've been playing on the Lotus. The timeout is used as they've gathered enough information on their opponents as well. They pressure C-Site to draw out the aggression from A and B. They are set up to fight against it. It doesn't go as cleanly as they would want, but it goes cleanly enough where Soulcast is still the last one alive, is able to win the 1v1, and Team Liquid moves on to the upper bracket semifinals. So those are the first 4 teams that played in the playoffs. Now, of course, we still have 4 more teams that will be playing on the other side of the bracket, and then it's a double elim, so there's still upper and lower bracket, so no one eliminated just yet. But I'm curious to see. I mean, EG looks amazing, right? They get the, in theory, upset against Loud, although given their current condition in Masters Tokyo so far, I don't think it's too surprising. I mean, just statistically, yes, but the way they've been playing at Tokyo has been absolutely ridiculous. And then on top of that, Team Liquid continue to show their strength. I mean, EDG is no longer just an aggression team. It's very clear that they're learning and improving every map, every round, every match and opponent that they've played. And Team Liquid still holds strong, defends their honor and the EMEA region by beating them. So Team Liquid will be moving on to face EG. Meanwhile, it's going to be Loud and EDG falling down to the lower bracket. And so we'll have to wait to see who's going to be the first teams eliminated. But so far, the playoffs bracket is looking great. And we'll be back with more Scoped In next week, probably after we've gone through the rest of the playoffs, right before the finals weekend. We'll probably record the episodes just to say, okay, now that we know which teams are going into the lower bracket finals and the grand finals, let's take a look at those 3 teams. That's going to be the next episode. But if you guys liked what you saw today, make sure you like this video. Drop a comment down below, whether it's about what we saw today or something else that you want to see from Scoped In alongside myself. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Well, thank you so much for watching. My name was William Cho, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of Masters Tokyo. We'll be back with more Scoped In VCT Masters Tokyo next week. See you then.